Welcome to Breaking International News. Trump's Truth Social was down after announcing the attack on Iran. Iran's foreign minister to visit Russia for important talks with Putin. US B-2 bombers fly for 37 hours to attack Iran. Attack on Iran. US lawmakers question Trump's decision as unconstitutional. Why did Trump attack after 2 days after talking about 2 weeks? New York and Washington on high alert after Iran attack. Trump thanks Netanyahu for attacking Iran. Trump's Truth Social was down after announcing the attack on Iran. The United States has carried out airstrikes on 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. U.S. President Donald Trump has also claimed that the attack was very successful. Trump made the announcement on his social media account Truth Social shortly before 8 p.m. local time in Washington. After announcing the military attack on 3 important nuclear facilities in Iran, U.S. President Donald Trump's social media account Truth Social went down worldwide. The outage began around 8 p.m. local time on Saturday, which lasted for a long time. However, the platform is now running normally again. In a post on Truth Social at 7:46 p.m. local time on Saturday, Trump said, "We have very successfully completed the attack on 3 nuclear facilities in Iran, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. All aircraft are now outside Iranian airspace." A screenshot of the post was shared from Trump's X account at 7:53 p.m., exactly 7 minutes after this announcement. After that, many users worldwide faced problems using Truth after 8 p.m. local time. Many saw "network failed" or "please try again" messages. Downtaker, a technology error detection site, also received many reports of Truth Social being down around 8 p.m. In a post on the Blue Sky account, NetBlocks, an internet access monitoring company, said, "Truth Social has been down for many users internationally since Donald Trump announced the attack on 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. This incident is not related to any internet blocking or filtering at the domestic level." When Israel launched the attack on June 13th, Secretary of State Marco Rubio made the first statement from the Trump administration. The statement kept the United States out of the war. There was no mention of standing with Israel in the statement. This was an unusual incident. Later, when it turned out that Israel's first night attack was successful, Trump began to claim credit for the operation. He hinted to reporters that his role in the mission was bigger than people thought. That weekend, as Trump prepared to leave for the G7 summit in Canada, he privately said he might have to drop the biggest one. Trump was referring to the 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs that only the United States has. Iran's foreign minister to visit Russia for important talks with Putin. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi is visiting Russia for important talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Qatar-based media outlet Al Jazeera confirmed the information in a report on Sunday, June 22nd. However, he said that although he left for Moscow today, the meeting will be held tomorrow, June 23rd. Speaking at a press conference in Istanbul, he said that Russia is Iran's best friend. "Beyond that, we are in a strategic partnership. We always discuss each other's problems and mutual issues, accept each other's advice, and coordinate our positions." At the time, he mentioned that Russia is one of the signatories to the JCPOA. He also assured that after tomorrow's important talks with the Russian president, they will coordinate with each other and work together to develop a future action plan. Russia and Iran signed a comprehensive partnership agreement in January, further strengthening their close strategic alliance. However, the agreement does not include any obligation to defend each other militarily if one is attacked. Earlier, in a post on the social media handle X, formerly Twitter, following the attack on Iranian nuclear facilities by U.S. bombers last night, he said that the attack was a serious violation of international law, the UN Charter, and the Non-Proliferation Treaty. He also warned that the U.S. would suffer eternal consequences for the attack. In the post, Araghchi also warned that Iran reserves the right to take all measures to protect its sovereignty, interests, and people. Immediately after this, Iran launched missile attacks targeting several locations, including Ben Gurion Airport in Israel. US B-2 bombers fly for 37 hours to attack Iran. The United States has launched attacks on 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. The United States carried out these attacks on the country's nuclear facilities in Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan in the dark of night. And the United States used state-of-the-art B-2 stealth bombers to carry out these attacks. These planes took off from a base in the U.S. state of Missouri and flew continuously for about 37 hours to attack 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. The New York Times says that a U.S. official, speaking on condition of anonymity, said that the B-2 planes that attacked Iran's nuclear facilities on Sunday morning flew continuously for about 37 hours after taking off from their base in Missouri and refueled several times while in the air. This is the first time the U.S. Air Force has used the 30,000-pound bunker buster bomb GBU-57 in a combat zone. A U.S. official said 6 B-2 bombers dropped a dozen 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs on Iran's underground Fordo nuclear facility. Meanwhile, 30 TLAM cruise missiles were fired from U.S. Navy submarines at Iran's Natanz and Isfahan nuclear facilities. The same U.S. official also said a B-2 bomber dropped 2 bunker-busting bombs on the Natanz nuclear facility. U.S. President Donald Trump has again threatened Iran after the attack. He said, "Either there will be peace, or there will be a tragedy for Iran far greater than what we have seen in the last 8 days." He said, "Remember, there are still many targets left. Tonight's attack was the most difficult and probably the most deadly yet. But if peace does not come quickly, we will strike other targets with precision, speed, and efficiency." Attack on Iran. U.S. lawmakers question Trump's decision as unconstitutional. Lawmakers from both Republican and Democratic parties in Congress have raised serious constitutional questions about the legality of U.S. President Donald Trump's military strike on Iran. Many have alleged that Trump violated the Constitution by waging war without congressional authorization. U.S. media outlet NBC News reported this in a report on Sunday, June 22. Although many Republican members supported Trump's decision, at least 2 Republican congressmen agreed with Democrats and said that the move was unconstitutional. President Trump's decision may be justified, but it's hard to call it constitutional, Ohio Republican Representative Warren Davidson, who is generally known as a close Trump ally, wrote on social media X. Representative Thomas Massie, Republican of Kentucky, responded to Trump's announcement by saying, "It's not constitutional." He introduced a bipartisan resolution this week that would prohibit military action against Iran without a declaration of war or specific authorization from Congress. From the White House on Saturday night, Trump defended the attack, but did not address its constitutional basis. Democratic Senator Bernie Sanders called Trump's actions grossly unconstitutional in a speech. "Only Congress has the power to declare war in this country. The president has no sole authority," he said at a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The audience chanted, "No more war," during his speech. Democrat Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, "The president's bombing of Iran without congressional authorization is a clear and unequivocal impeachable offense." She called Trump's decision a grave violation of the Constitution and the War Powers Act. Democratic Representative Sean Casten said, "No president has the right to bomb a country without congressional authorization unless that country poses an immediate threat to the United States. This is a clear and unequivocal impeachable offense." She called on House Speaker Mike Johnson to lead Congress in protecting war powers. However, Mike Johnson defended Trump, saying, "The president respects the authority of Congress, and this necessary, limited, and targeted attack is consistent with actions taken by past presidents of both parties." Senate Majority Leader Republican John Thune supported Trump's decision, which could be politically helpful for Trump in the Republican-controlled Congress. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said, "The president has taken a dangerous path by taking military action without congressional authorization that could push us into another war in the Middle East." House Democratic No. 2 Catherine Clark was more direct, saying, "Only Congress has the power to declare war. The president's unilateral attack on Iran is illegal and unconstitutional. He has put our military and our diplomats at risk." Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has backed a resolution by Democratic Senator Tim Kaine that would require the president to seek congressional approval before taking military action. "We need to enforce the War Powers Act to prevent a president from launching a war on his own," he said. "I will vote for this resolution, and I urge senators of all parties to do the same." During an appearance on MSNBC Saturday night, Democratic Representative Ro Khanna, who co-authored the anti-war resolution with Republican Massie, said, "This is the first major crack in Trump's MAGA base. Trump won the 2016 election by criticizing the Iraq War, and today he is repeating that mistake." Why did Trump attack after 2 days after talking about 2 weeks? U.S. President Donald Trump said on Thursday that he would take 2 weeks to decide on an attack on Iran. On that day, the U.S. president also said that Iran would surrender unconditionally. At that time, he said, "If Iran does not surrender within the given time, they will not be able to return." The next day, that is, Friday, Trump mentioned 2 weeks again. At that time, he said that Iran has a maximum of 2 weeks to avoid a possible U.S. attack. However, the 2-week period set by the U.S. president ended in just 2 days. They attacked 3 nuclear facilities in Iran on Saturday night. Trump also called the attack a success. Why was the attack carried out within 2 days after talking about 2 weeks, is the question on everyone's lips now. Was Trump's time limit a good omen? Many say that this strategy was taken to reassure Iran. Many also claim that the attack was carried out after the talks with Steve Witkoff, appointed by Trump, collapsed. There was no immediate word on the damage caused by the attack. However, in his speech on social media and broadcast media, Trump said that the door is open for peace. Many analysts are optimistic about Trump's vision. Meanwhile, Israel is making great efforts to reduce Iran's military capabilities. However, the country still has a huge arsenal. This could lead to chaos. Now Iran's response must be countered. According to Trump, the U.S. attack will force Iran to the negotiating table. However, Tehran is not willing to sit for any talks amid the ongoing Israeli attacks. And the U.S. attack could create a new polarization in this conflict. New York and Washington on high alert after Iran attack. The authorities of the important U.S. cities of New York and Washington, D.C. are on high alert after the U.S. military carried out a major attack on Iran's 3 main nuclear facilities. On Saturday night, the U.S. forces carried out a major attack on Iran's 3 main nuclear facilities, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. The U.S. B-2 stealth bomber took part in the attack in Iran. President Donald Trump said that 5 to 6 bunker blaster bombs hit the Fordow nuclear facility, and 30 Tomahawk missiles were fired from U.S. submarines targeting the Natanz and Isfahan nuclear facilities. In an address to the nation from the White House after the attack, Trump said that Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities were totally destroyed by the U.S. forces' attack. After that, security was tightened at diplomatic, cultural, and religious facilities in the capital Washington, D.C. and one of the main cities, New York, according to Fox News. In a post on social media, the New York Police Department, NYPD, said it is monitoring the situation in Iran. As part of a heightened alert, we are deploying additional forces to religious, cultural, and diplomatic sites across New York City and coordinating with our federal partners. We will continue to monitor any potential impact in New York City. Shortly after, the Metropolitan Police Department, MPD, in Washington, D.C., issued a similar statement on social media. In a statement, the MPD said the Metropolitan Police Department is closely monitoring events in Iran. We are actively coordinating with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners to share information and monitor intelligence to help protect residents, businesses, and visitors to the District of Columbia. The MPD added that while there is no known threat to the District of Columbia, it will increase its presence at religious sites across the city. Former Fox News correspondent and NYPD Inspector Paul Morrow is in charge of monitoring terrorist cells in New York. He said that they have increased special surveillance with patrol cars in areas of the city that have Israeli connections. In addition, there are several Shiite mosques in the city, and since Iran is a Shiite majority country, anything can happen at any time. Therefore, special attention is being paid to these areas and patrols are being strengthened. He said that they are also monitoring online chats. Trump thanks Netanyahu for attacking Iran. U.S. President Donald Trump has thanked Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after the attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. Al Jazeera News. The U.S. President said that he and the Israeli Prime Minister worked as a team. Donald Trump said, "I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu." He said, "We worked as a coalition. Probably no coalition has worked so much before. We have come a long way to eliminate this terrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli army for their extraordinary work." Last Friday, June 13th, Israel attacked Iran's nuclear facilities. Tehran is also retaliating against Tel Aviv. Since that day, the two countries have been exchanging attacks. Many people from both countries have been killed. However, on Saturday, the United States became directly involved in this war. Washington carried out airstrikes on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. Later, Trump himself announced that his country had successfully carried out attacks on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities. The facilities are Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. Iran condemned the attacks, calling them a heinous act. The country's nuclear agency said that the enemy's attacks on 3 of Iran's important nuclear facilities violated international law, especially the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT.